Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just wanted to take a few minutes this morning. I know it's early. Just want to take a few minutes to, in my own words, as best I can, try to bring a little bit of understanding to the Black Lives Matter movement, not the organization. I am not a part of the Black Lives Matter organization, and I don't know much about the organization, but I am absolutely a part of the Black Lives Matter movement. And as I'm having discussions and as I'm seeing things in the media, on social media, just my own experiences, and I'm not trying to speak for the entire movement, not at all. I am just doing my part to speak to what I'm experiencing in the movement. Once again, I'm here to just have a little small discussion about the Black Lives Matter movement, not the Black Lives Matter organization. Once again, I don't belong to the organization, but I do belong to the movement. I'm a part of the movement. And one of the biggest things that I see, and I want to make sure that I give my explanation of this, what you're seeing, and I think now we're going on 19 or 20 consecutive days of protest. What you're seeing is the nation rise up against a system, not necessarily a people, but a system that has been unfair to Black people in particular, but to especially minorities. And when we saw Mr. George Floyd's killing on live TV, I think that it was the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. And when you see something as brazen as what happened to Mr. Floyd, it will ignite something. It wasn't Mr. Floyd's killing by itself, but it came, at the tail end of several other things that have happened, especially within the last 5 years. You go 5, 10 years back, there have been so many cases, and you keep going back. They're just case after case after case, and I know they're happening in different jurisdictions with different agencies, but it appears to be something systematic and even historic when it comes to unfair treatment of Black people. That's what you're seeing in the streets. And it has finally broken not just with Black people, but as you can see, our Caucasian counterparts are with us, our Asian counterparts are with us, our Latino counterparts are with us. Many Americans have said enough. Now, I know there are many who don't understand, and I've heard many Caucasians say, why are you angry with me? I didn't own slaves. I have not been a racist. And maybe if I was in those shoes, I would feel the same way. Maybe I would have the same complaint. So let me say this. Number one, if you are part of that Caucasian uh, populace that is not racist, God bless you. I'll tell you that the way I see it, when it comes to my Caucasian counterparts, I see you in a couple of different groups. I see a group of Caucasian counterparts that are absolutely on the front lines with us and totally get it and just are disgusted as we are with the plight of what's going on in this country. There are some who are not necessarily on the front lines, but they get it. They're with us. They're working behind the scenes. I get it. There are some who are indifferent. Maybe they don't totally get it because it has not been their experience, and we definitely know that the history that is taught in our public school system does not properly reflect. God bless you, Stephanie. Good morning. The history that is taught in our public schools does not properly reflect the true history of what's happened to us in this country. So maybe some don't know and they're indifferent. Like, it's not my problem, not my fight. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it. And then we know that there are some who stand staunchly against us. They are part of the racist, biased uh, group that just don't care and couldn't care less about Black plight or Black life. And I get it. I'm not saying this for agreement. I'm saying it just for my own understanding. So when you see us in the street, when you hear us, we're not talking to all of you. We're talking to certain groups. And I want to say something, especially to those of our Caucasian counterparts, to say, why are you mad at me? I didn't own slaves. Maybe my ancestors did, but I didn't. We're not talking to you specifically. We're talking to a system that has historically been against us. Let me just give you an example for understanding. When we look at drug use in America, the data says that blacks and whites use illegal, illicit drugs at just about the same rate. That's what the data says. But the data also says that black Americans are disproportionately arrested for drug use and drug possession, are disproportionately prosecuted for the same thing, disproportionately convicted for the same thing, and disproportionately jailed for the same thing. That is a systematic problem. And I don't understand how you could slice that any other way. The only other way that you could slice it that I see is to think that an entire race of people are just inherently criminal. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that an entire race of people is just inherently criminal? If that is your true belief, you, sir, ma'am, are part of the problem. Your thought process is part of the problem. And you can't believe that your experience alone and your viewpoint alone is the viewpoint of all. We are not inherently more criminal than any other group. It's just not true. But that's how the system treats us. We know that we've had to fight for fair housing, for fair treatment and banking. Look at redlining. These are systematic things that have kept us out of the pursuit of happiness at the same level as our white counterparts. The system has historically been unfair. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation happened in 1865, Jim Crow was in full effect, and everybody knows that. You know this. And for some of my white counterparts, I've said this again and again, and I'll say it again today. You have been involved in conversations that we can't get to because some are not going to say certain things in front of us. You know there is inherent racism because you know them who are in your family, who are in your circle, who are in your community, who feel free to express their racist views in your presence. And those racists may not be police, but they may be department managers or directors. They're in positions to hire, fire, promote, or not. And if you take a racist view into that, how are we treated fairly? So it's not just the police brutality, but we can't deny what we see. Black people are not treated the same by law enforcement. Black people are not treated the same in the justice system. And the data bears that out. That's what you see on TV. Now, I know in this recent killing of the man in Atlanta, uh, to me, that is not the same deal. Y'all forgive me, that's my wife's alarm going off in the background, and I can't get to it right now. Uh, but uh, I don't see that killing in Atlanta the same as I see Mr. Floyd. I believe that it was wrong. I don't believe that the policeman should have. I don't believe that he should have fired on that man because he knew that all the man had was the. I think it was the stun gun. He knew that, but I also don't believe that the brother should have behaved the way he did. And I know that I may get flack from blacks too on this one, but that's just what it is. I don't think that's the same category. Do I think that he was wrongfully killed? Yes. Do I think that he put himself in a negative position? Yes. Yes, I do. It was an unjustified killing, in my opinion. But we have some responsibility too. But what I'm saying is, I've heard many white Americans take that and automatically attach that to us As if, see what I told you, see what I told you. Let me tell you, you got a whole lot of video of white suspects armed with lethal weapons who don't get shot by the police. Okay, we see a lot of that. So I really, I don't accept the argument that he deserved to be killed. He did not deserve to be killed. He deserved to be locked up. He didn't deserve to be killed. And you see it time after time after time after time. Why do our white counterparts live through arrest that black people cannot live through? It's something wrong, people. It's something wrong. And that's what we're saying. And I want to say again to good police, we love you, we respect you, and we want you to stay on the job. I understand that now you got a lot of good cops who are resigning because they're frustrated, and I get it. But we're not talking about you. We have not lumped you into all. And I know there's a portion of the Black Lives Matter group, and maybe there's a portion of the movement that wants to defund all police. Listen, I don't agree with that. You abolish police forces in America and you have chaos and anarchy. I don't agree with that. So don't think that when you hear that, that speaks for all of the movement. It is incorrect. What I do believe we ought to do is take a look at how we police in the United States. Some of the training is just too aggressive. It's too aggressive to unarmed people. And there are areas that armed police who are not trained in mental health, who are not trained to be social workers, they shouldn't be handling cases with, you got to call for an autistic person who's out in the street. That's going to end bad. You need somebody who's been trained how to deal with that. You know, we can take some of the money that we spend on these militarized weapons and stuff for police departments, we can spend it on other parts of training. So when I hear defunded police, that's what I see. I want to make it clear. I am not for abolishing any police department. Okay? So I get really pissed, to be quite honest with you, when I hear this lumping uh, uh, into one. And I think that some of our Caucasian counterparts just are tired of hearing of Black Lives Matter. All you want to hear is all lives matter, but Black lives do matter. I'm not backing off of it. Of course, all lives matter, but there's a crisis right now in our community, and there's a systematic crisis. And to belittle that, to not see that, is part of the problem, and is what you see these young people in the streets about. Do they need some guidance? Yes. Is everything they do right? No. But the plight, and I'm glad they're out there, and I'm all for peaceful protests, and I'm protesting too. If you look hard, you might see me. Now, I'm not for destroying people's property and setting stuff on fire and beating people up. I don't want to do that. But I do want to stand with the movement and say there must be change in this country, change in the way we police, and change with many other systems also. So I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you, Stephanie. You've been right with me. And for all those who have questions, listen, you can feel free to comment on the video. The video will be placed on my personal Facebook page. It'll also be on my YouTube channel, Carl's Conversations, are all one word. If you're looking for my YouTube, Carl's Conversations, the conversation will be there too. I just wanted to bring some clarity, and I hope that these few minutes did bring some clarity from my point of view. There are many things that my cousin Damien just chimed in. You're right. There's something very wrong, and that's what I've been trying to say. There's something very wrong, and I'll tell you the truth. I really struggle with those who can't see it. I just struggle. You don't see this and see something wrong. Wow. I'm praying for all the racists. I really am, because I think only the love of Christ is going to soften their hearts. I'm praying for all those who don't understand that the Lord will bring some understanding to just soften their hearts, so you could see it from another point of view. Sometimes to understand, you got to put yourself in another person's shoes to see it where they see it. So I thank you for your time once again, and good morning to my cousin, my cousin Day Day is what we call him. I appreciate you being on this morning with me, sir. Thank you for all those who took time out to watch this either live or you'll catch it at some other time. Like I said, please feel free to comment, ask questions, even if you disagree. I want to hear the disagreements too, because that's dialogue, and that's how we get to a better place. We have to dialogue. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. I hope the information was valuable to you. Have a great day. Bye bye.